Hi, everybody, and hi to all the replay viewers. Appreciate you guys tuning in. I'm here. It is 6 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and I'm waiting for Claire to join me on this Facebook Live. She joined my private Facebook community. If you guys didn't know, I host a private Facebook community, a safe place for people to tune in, learn about what self-love is, and support each other while we're on the self-love journey. So hi everyone that's just hopping on. Hi Joe. If you haven't seen me yet and this is your first time seeing me, go ahead and comment down below. Let me know where you're tuning in from. If you have seen me already, go ahead and let me know where you're tuning in from as well, just so people can connect and see like who's all connected and from where and all of that. So hey guys, how's it going? So you guys know me. I'm a self-love coach, and I can talk about the self-love journey forever because there's just so much to unpack in there, and there's just so much relatability and so much useful tips and tools and things to share, because let's all face it, you guys, we all have experienced pains from childhood that we didn't realize that's affecting us to this day. Hey, Bill from Arizona, how is it going? I see Claire here. So excited that we were able to test this out. I know how to do this now. So I'm also going to share this on my community. Hi girls, connecting now.
Hey!
It's like deja vu. Didn't we just experience this not too long ago?
Yeah, but this time we're not spending like 30 minutes going, what the hell is happening? We're here.
Exactly. So thank you for carving out some of your time to share your story. And, Claire, actually, can you share how did we get connected? How did you find the Facebook community group? Because that's where we first connected, right? Yeah, so go ahead and share that and then we'll go from there.
Well, so I'm actually a brand new inner power coach. And so I just wanted to immerse myself in the community of self-love, people who are seeking help, and just seeing what is on everybody's mind so I can be in touch with what it is that people are looking for. And so I was searching on Facebook for self-love groups, and that's basically how I found you. I was looking at it, I'm like, this looks like a really good, solid place that fosters self-love. Like, I want to be a part of this community. And now we're here.
Now we are here. Yeah, so hold on a second. I'm sharing this in the private Facebook community that we're in. Yeah, so hi everybody that's tuning in. All right, I see it. I'm on my laptop. Okay, it's shared. All right, let's just continue. So yeah, Claire. So I'm really curious about what were some of the major events in your life that took place that had you say yes to the self-love journey. What did it take for you? What did you experience that led you up to starting the self-love journey?
Oh my God.
I know. We all have stories, so I really appreciate you sharing.
It's a big story. I think that my problems actually began with my friendships with women, and it's still to this day something that I'm working through, because when I was 15, I actually left a girl group that I had in middle school because I realized that the relationship was very, very toxic, and I couldn't stand to be in that group anymore. And so when I had left that group, they all decided to basically turn against me. And it was a very bad situation. There was a court case involved, restraining orders involved. They went to juvie for about 9 months because of it. And it was really serious. And I think that was when my struggles with self-love really started, because at that point I felt the need to be this like very like tough and strong person. And so I began like lashing out really badly. I was probably angry all the time because I felt like I needed to prove that I wasn't this like innocent little quiet, weak little girl that everyone seemed to assume that I was, because if I acted that way, then I wouldn't get hurt the same way again. And so I was building up this very toxic mental state, and I was going through a lot during that time because I was coming up onto my senior year of high school when like I was dealing with a lot of different changes like we all do in senior year. Everyone is leaving, everyone has all these plans, and I was very resistant to change at that time. I hated change with my life. At the same time, my grandma, she was starting to pass away at that time too. So I was dealing with that. I was dealing with boy issues like we all do. And so I was not healthy at all. And then I got into my first real relationship with my best friend at that time. And he himself he had it much, much worse than most people that I knew because he grew up with, let's see, a single mom, but she wasn't really there for him because, you know, she had him when she was really young. And so she was still like in that teenager mindset when she had him. His father wasn't in the picture. His grandparents, they were Vietnamese immigrants who have severe PTSD from the Vietnam War. And he had it bad. And because he didn't have a better way of coping with it, he unloaded it all on me. And that was when things started to really, really get really bad. And then after him, I got into a relationship with someone who opposite, but also wasn't like in the best place mentally either. And I also shouldered a lot of that. After those two relationships were basically over, I was single for about 2 years, trying to like get my footing, trying to get back to myself. But you know, we all go through this where like we absorb all of that like good self-love and all those self-help books, all the inspirational quotes, and you're trying to figure it out on your own how to like get from point A to point B, but it's like it's not really resonating with you. And so like I reached a point where I just want what I want, that nice relationship with that nice guy, and I want it now. And I got it. But the problem is that like he and I, we've been friends for a long time. And so like in the beginning, I was not really seeing him as like a partner for me because I knew we were incompatible. But because I became so desperate for what it is that I wanted, I like threw all that out the window and I like totally forgot about it. And I dove straight into that relationship with blinders on completely and rose tinted glasses, and I was unable to see him for who he actually was. I only saw him for the idea of who he was and lived vicariously through my own expectations of what this relationship was going to be. Obviously that came crashing down, and then that was when I realized this is not the way I want to live my life, and something needed to change. And my self-love journey truly began at that point because suddenly I had a really big ego because I'm a Leo. We have big pride, big ego. And I realized that what happened throughout this entire time since I was 15, I had created a picture of myself that I relied on in order to make myself feel like I was valuable, that I was valid. And it was all basically a disguise for what I was hiding underneath. And when I finally realized the patterns in my life, it's almost as if that image just shattered, and behind that I saw like me as a child, just like sad and alone and just needing someone to finally pay attention to her. And I realized that I've been neglecting myself for far too long. And that was when I think one of the hardest lessons when it comes to anyone trying to learn how to love themselves is finding their truth and facing their truth and living in their truth. And oftentimes that is where your most vulnerable shadows are. And that is what I had to face. And like after that, it's been wonderful. I did not think I reached this point of happiness and joy in my life until I was 40, when everyone has matured. And like I assumed that it was going to take that long for me to finally get there, but no, I'm here now. I'm turning 30 this year. And it came faster than I was expecting it to. And it made me realize that if it can come this quickly for me after doing like the hard work and willing to look at myself in my truth, then it can happen for anybody.
I relate. Thank you so much. Everyone give a clap, claps for her. Thank you for sharing all of that. There's so many things that I related. I relate with you with getting into trouble with when I was younger. I got suspended in middle school for being involved in like a bomb threat as a joke in middle school. And the two girls got expelled. I got suspended. And I relate with you on the of course the relationship part. I also went through 2 long-term relationships, and it was the second one that really pushed me to realize all these things. And would you say it takes such a big amount of pain to have the realizations come up even louder, and then you're like really looking at it, because when you're in pain, all these truths come up, but sometimes we just push it to the side, and then we continue to want to find that next relationship. We want it so bad because we feel so empty. So it's like, where is the love? Let me find a different kind of love in someone else. Let me still do that. And then it's like, okay, here's another lesson.
Yeah, because life, it's like a nagging mom. It's like a very persistent nagging mom that will not. Life, what it does to you is that if you do not learn the first time, it's going to make you learn the second time, but a little bit harder, because clearly you're not getting it the first time, and it gets harder every single time until you finally go, okay, I hear you. I hear you.
I like how you said it's a nagging mom. I also call that, see, like there's different versions of how we can call that inner voice, and for me it was like, okay, fine, I will finally become my own friend. It's like there's this inner part of us that's like, hey, you're still forgetting about me. What's up? Okay, you're gonna go through that relationship again. Okay, fine. I'll just wait over here. But it's almost like this inner part of you is getting angry and angrier because you're still neglecting yourself, your friend, or your mom, that's your inner mom, or whatever that's inside of you, right? So I really go ahead. I really relate with that.
Yeah, it's like, so I'm reading this book right now called, I don't know if you read it, Women Who Run with the Wolves. That inner voice is referred to as basically the wild woman inside us. And it's the wise woman. It's the one that's connected and channeled to your intuition and to source, that actually lets you know the right path of where to go. But because as women, we are like programmed and conditioned to, be very people pleasing, to always hold it down for everyone, and to just like basically take as much as we can get, because that's how valuable as a woman. The more you suffer, the more valuable you are, as like stupid as that sound. But then that a lot of time has been conditioned into us. And so for us to learn how to love ourselves is a huge act of rebellion, because then you are now telling everyone in society, or not everyone in society, but you're telling societal expectations that you no longer play by their rules. You are going to listen to your inner self, that nagging voice that's telling you, hello, I am here. You need to pay attention to me.
Why are you leaving me again? Jeez.
Yeah, that is the voice that matters. I think a lot of times as women, we have, and men too, you have the problem of listening to other people's voices over yourself, wanting to please and earn people's approval by saying yes all the time. And, this is where, your boundaries get crossed. This is when you let people walk all over you. And you start to feel angry and betrayed, and you feel like, how come nothing ever goes my way? What is wrong with all these people? When in fact, it's you who's actually neglecting yourself. So when you finally like tap into love, you start to take care of yourself as if you are taking care of someone that you truly love and want to be happy. Then you no longer play by other people's expectations or their rules. You play by your own. And I was actually talking to a client today, because she has big issues with boundaries. She has people, like constantly in and out of her life, only go to her when she is needed. She gives them all their energy, but she doesn't know who she can trust. She's had a partner for 12 years who does not commit to her. He gives her no quality form of intimacy. He is unfaithful to her. And so what happens is that like she allows for all this to happen, and she feels like she's in a constant state of betrayal. And she also has a hard time drawing those boundaries, because she's thinking like, but if I move on with my life, all I can think about is all the people that I'm hurting by letting them go. And I had to tell her, this is like very important for everyone here as well, to know that by loving yourself, it's it can also be the biggest form of loving somebody else, because when you love yourself, you allow the people around you to, one, make their own decisions. So if you're an overprotective parent, this is something for you to like consider too. You know, like you allow people to go through their own journey. You are there as a support. You are there to hold their hand when they need you to. You are there as a shoulder for them to cry on. But if you love them, you let them be free to make their own decisions. So by loving yourself, you remove yourself from taking responsibility from someone else's life. Therefore, you let them learn their lessons. And it's like my friend, she actually has this beautiful saying that she got from somewhere, I don't remember where, but she says that when it comes to boundaries, you know, it's about learning how to keep someone else warm without setting yourself on fire. So
I love that.
isn't it so good? It's so
Yeah.
powerful. Because, like, when you are so attached to what someone else is doing and attached to someone else's happiness over your own, you're constantly setting yourself on fire for them. Whereas instead, you could be teaching them how to build their own fires. And then they teach other people to build their own fires. And then you have a whole nation of fire builders lighting and warming everyone else around. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. I'm actually going through that. One of the family members, I'll just say it's one of my parents, okay? And it's so hard. And like, oh, like anyone who's watching that's a parent, man, I feel you, because I'm having one of the family members or my parents talking to me about you can just feel the attachment. You want your children to do fine, but really you're suffocating them.
Yeah.
And they're gonna rebel. And I went through that. I mean, I'm their child, so but thank you so much for sharing that. I also want to get into some major self-loving tools that you have practiced that allows you to love yourself, right? I'm a huge person on, yes, we can say that we love ourselves, and that's a way of communicating in a very healthy, loving way to yourself. But also, it's the actions behind that that can really prove it to yourself that you do love you. So, um, would love to hear you share some practices, some tools that really helped you love yourself. What were some
Okay.
major ones for you?
Let's see. Where do I start?
Maybe the first couple of ones, and then what are ones that are really a consistent practice for you in your life today,
Yeah.
where you are right now?
So I think the biggest thing is learning how to. So I'm also a yoga teacher, and my yoga practice has been the fundamental, divinely timed thing that actually taught me how to love myself. So, two principles in yoga, which are the foundation of everything yogic, having a yoga lifestyle and how to practice yoga in the right way, is called ahimsa and satya. That means nonviolence and truthfulness. And when you pair these two together, it's like it's very powerful because it teaches you how to look at yourself in a truthful way, look at other people in a truthful way, but also do it with kindness and with as little harm as possible. Because we've all been there. We've like gone into arguments with people, and next thing you know, one person is hurling an insult, the other person's hurling an insult. No one is listening to the other person. We're fighting over who's right and who's wrong, and it's a it's something that is really hard to stop doing, especially if the both of you are not on the same page. And one thing that Ahimsa and Satya teaches you is how can you communicate your true feelings without harming the other person as much as possible, because you know people, we still react the way that we react.
Yes.
We can't like be unhurt all the time. But part of that is like when you are angry at someone, right? Usually anger is a mask for deeper hurts that you are afraid of expressing. And oftentimes when we get angry, we're not aware of those deeper hurts because our first reaction is to fight back and to protect.
Totally.
Yeah. So what is it that you are protecting? That's a question you need to kind of go into whenever you get into those heated moments. What exactly are you protecting? If you're getting into an argument with your partner, are you afraid that you are at risk of what am I trying to say? Are you afraid that they're going to leave you? Are you afraid that they're going to reject you or that they're going to see you differently? Those are the things that you are supposed to communicate instead of screaming at them saying, well, you're out all the time, blah, 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 blah. Instead of like accusing them of certain things, why not say, I am afraid that because you are doing X, Y, and Z, it means X, Y, and Z. And I need you to show me like that that's not true, or that I need you to tell me what's happening so that I can feel better about the situation. We can move on functionally.
Right? That sounds completely different from what you just said. And, and as you were saying that, I realized, it's so hard to communicate in that way because there's a part of you sharing a vulnerable side of what your pains are, what you're really afraid of, and letting that just come out on the table instead of you're doing this, you're doing that. There's so many great topics that you brought up as far as like self-love and learning how to come off as kind as much as possible. So thank you for sharing. So you said one of the yoga practices is that. Can you say that again? What is it called?
It's called ahimsa and satya. They're both different principles, but together they build up a very strong foundation. And just a quick recap, basically what it means is like, how can you be truthful? How can you be honest with yourself, first of all, so that you can be honest with other people, but do it in a kind way to yourself and to other people outside of you. So like, don't be like judging yourself and ridiculing yourself. Like, oh, you're so insecure. What is wrong with you? It's like, no, I am afraid of X, Y, and Z because of X, Y, and Z. And that is okay. These are insecurities that I have. And we just need to know that it's there, accept it, and then we can work through it.
Yes. Yes, and you guys, it's all a practice. We know it's hard. That's why we're here, sharing our stories. And you can see that, as I'm starting to really get into interviewing people again, the reason why I'm doing this is when you look at people, it's so easy to make up a judgment from the outside that like they don't have it as bad as you, or, their life is just good. Yeah. When you really find out what's underneath that, it is mind-blowing, you guys, because you will find relatability. You will see that people are more than what they look on the outside. And so thank you so much for sharing the past, your past pains, and what really got you to get into the self-love journey, and sharing the tool from yoga, right? From yoga is what, if you can give like, how would I say it? Like a tip to someone that is struggling with self-love, what would be the one or two tips or things that comes up in your mind to give to them? Because, for a while we know, right? We know what we need to do. We're like, yeah, healthy outlets. I need to do things differently. And like, how can people ease into that? Because I know it was so hard, right? It's so hard. And it's like,
my biggest suggestion there is to be gentle with yourself. Yep. Be gentle, so gentle, because the thing about self-love is that you are now tapping into your inner power. Yeah. And when it comes to tapping into your inner power, you're going to be facing, it's kind of like an epic legend where hero goes on a quest, right? And they face all of these obstacles, all these monsters and demons and like trials. Every single hero story is basically your story on your way to discovering your self-love and your inner power. And that's why I say be as gentle with yourself as possible, because when you try to jump in head first, you put so much pressure on yourself to suddenly be all loving, all this. Self-love is a journey. It's a journey that, like, even now to this day, even though I help people discover their self-love and their inner power, I still go through it myself, and there are a lot of different layers that's going to help you learn how to love yourself. That includes other people in your life. That includes relying on other people, learning how to trust again. And this is coming from me, as someone with like a really big ego, very independent Leo, and did not want to trust nobody, rely on nobody. It's those relationships that you start to build where you actually learn too. But it all starts inside. Be gentle with yourself and don't attach any expectations to your journey either. big, big thing. Let go of those expectations. Let go of like, I would not attach goal setting to self-love, me personally, because it's such a personal and sometimes messy journey that you don't want to make it harder on yourself by saying, okay, I need to love myself, or I need X, Y, and Z by a year from now. Like, this is not a job.
No.
This is not a career. This is a relationship.
Oh my God. Yes. I love that you said not to attach goal setting to self-love. It makes me think of my own journey. I have never put a deadline on anything related to self-love, even with my business, because if you're practicing something, it's going to grow. If you're consistent with that practice, the things that you want to happen or feel or whatnot is going to come when you're consistent with that, building that relationship with yourself, healthy outlets. And I love that you said being gentle with yourself. I would say that is the kind of like the center of it all, because if you're navigating through your pains and you're healing through that, how can you really come in and dive deep if you're being hard on yourself? Which is okay, because it's not perfect though. It's not perfect, but when we can learn to be gentle as we're going through it, you will be able to heal.
Yeah. Because if you think about it, right, like let's say that you got into a really bad accident, right, and you're injured and you need to be taken to the ICU. You don't want like an EMT like yelling at you to stop being a baby. You know, like that does not help the situation.
You're going to even be more defensive, like, why am I even here? Fuck it, I don't want help from this place, you know?
Exactly. Exactly. Or you internalize it and be like, oh shit, there's something wrong with me. No, there's nothing wrong with you. And I think that's also important to realize too, that regardless of what you have internalized or what people say to you, there is nothing wrong with you. You are on a journey. That's all it is.
Yes. No, I love it. You guys give a clap, some props, some comments, some love to Claire, because she just like laid out so much value right there. You also mentioned that you host another Facebook group. Do you host a group, or can you share all the things that you're offering? You mentioned that you're a coach. Can you share all the things that you're offering to people right now?
Oh God, I need to remember them all. So I have a YouTube channel. I also have a YouTube channel just like you, and I talk about like things like practices that you can do to help foster self-love. My next video is basically centered around how to practice gratitude when you don't feel grateful at all whatsoever, and the importance of having that practice. Let's see, I have an 8-week program out where I take you through an 8-week program step by step on how to start to love yourself and to find that inner power, so you can start to cultivate the life that you think is impossible to have, but is actually totally accessible to you. I also have a free 5-day course that gives you kind of like the very basics of self-love. So I talk about having a gratitude practice. I talk about setting boundaries, acceptance, truthfulness, loving yourself, and most importantly, self-respect. I think the self-respect aspect is more tactical. Everything else is very like mindset altering and, you know, internally driven. Whereas when it comes to self-respect and setting boundaries, that is more tactical in things that you can do outside of yourself, including your relationships, to really help feed your sense of self-love and also getting those results that you need. I know I say results as if it's like a goal setting thing. It's not, but it's like results. You get to see the return from the actions that you produce. And those are basically all the things that I have. Oh, and in my Facebook group too. I forgot.
Yes, girl. I love it. So I'm going to have you send me all of that so I can put it in the caption. And totally up to you if you want to put it again in the comments as well.
Sure.
Okay, so you guys, thank you so much for your time. This is so much fun. I feel like I'm breaking like the ice of me doing this again. So thank you for being like literally like the first person that I'm like redoing this again. Thank you for sharing your experience and your valuable tools. And you guys make sure to check her out. so happy that we are connected to support each other along this journey. So you guys hit her up if you need some support. Check out all the things, her courses and her YouTube. All of that will be on the link. So thank you guys. Oh, if you guys have any questions, go ahead and drop it down below. I forgot to mention that if you guys have any questions, we're gonna go ahead and just click the finish button and go on with our day. So I want to thank everyone who's tuning on as well, chiming in, or watching the replay. Feel free to share this out. This is all public, so you can share this out with your community as well. All right. Is there anything else you would like to add before we end it?
No, thank you so much for having me and like allowing me to kind of share my journey and to give advice to your community.
Yeah, you're welcome, girl. All right, guys. And if you guys want to see us again, we are in a group together. I'll put that above as well. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank you, Claire.
Thank you, Quinn.